Tragedy of the commons is an economic problem in which individuals overuse resource and can no longer benefit their companions. When an individual uses larger quantities of a resource than others, the demand for it increases. As the demand of the resource increases, every individual who continually consumes extra amounts directly harms others who can no longer use the resource. Eventually, the resource soon becomes overwhelmed over the usage and becomes unavailable to some or all of the population. An example of tragedy of the commons is the U.S. Navy and the consumption of oil to refuel their ships. On average, the United States Navy is the largest single consumer of diesel fuel in the world, using over 100 million barrels of oil to power their ships and aircraft on board. The United States Navy spends about $4 billion on fuel per year to fuel over 272 active duty naval vessels. Recently, in 2013, the Navy cut an overall fleet requirement from 313 to 306 in order to supply all their ships. If the Navy were to build ships over that limit, then the Navy could not supply all their ships with a sustainable amount of oil. With these large quantities of ships, the Navy is in need of this non-renewable resource in order to keep their ships on active duty. The high number of ships causes trouble in the Navy, as the demand of oil increases at an alarming rate. The demand of oil may cause the cutting of many of the Navy ships in order to keep a sustainable amount of oil to refuel their ships. If oil was to run out, the Navy can no longer have enough oil to supply other ships and would eventually retire the entire military branch itself. Oil is the lifeblood of the Navy. Without it, many ships are in jeopardy of being cut. As a result, the Navy must find a solution to help reduce the amounts of oil being used. There are many projects that the military is running to reduce the amount of oil being used by the Navy. Many solutions include powering their ships with different, safer energy sources. Nuclear-powered ships are a major contribution to the Navy's effort to help reduce the usage of oil. These nuclear reactors have helped reduce the number of times the ship has to refuel per voyage. Today, the U.S. Navy now operates more than 80 nuclear-powered ships and owns the title of the largest fleet of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and submarines. Another boat was built, the USS Macon Island, a hybrid electric-powered naval vessel that can help save about 1 million gallons of fuel per voyage, also saving about $250 worth of oil. One experiment that the Navy scientists have been testing for years is turning seawater into fuel. This solution could allow naval ships to develop their own fuel and stay operational 100% of the time rather than having to refuel at naval shipyards.